Yeah, and that's one of the things that excites us. I mean, to a very large extent, we are our own fans because most of the people working at Red 5, this is a game they've been wanting to play for a long time. This combination of sandbox, open world, dynamic events, plus the PvP, and having them both in the same game, you know, that's something we've wanted to play, and nobody else was making it. So
yeah, so why wasn't anyone else making that?
Well, it's not easy. It's actually terrifically hard to make. And this is not a small or simple project, but boy, it's a lot of fun to work on.
And you just mean from a technical standpoint, just all the back end stuff to make this all work properly?
Obviously, lots of technical issues, and we've got absolutely terrific people on that side. But you know, there's a lot of difficult design decisions. You know, we want people who just prefer the open world, PvE style to enjoy that side, and we want people who just want the PvP side to have fun. And so there's some tricky stuff where that can sometimes clash a little bit, and you want to have some good designers on tap to help solve those problems.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know people who they like. Okay, you're gliding around the environment now.
Yeah, we have gliders in the game as well, not just jump jets. Jump jets are awesome, but so are gliders.
Can you combo jump jets into gliding?
You can, in fact. There are gliders. There are glider spots in the world. It looks like someone else has actually already started up this mission. So I think as long as you keep that the aqueduct station alive there, you'll get credit as well. And again, this goes to that non-competing thing. He's got a mission. Oh, there you go. You can start it up.
It's in place. It's going
All right, so he's installed the power unit into the aqueduct there, and now he's just got to protect it while it powers up against all the little critters.
Yeah, I was starting to say earlier before the gliding sort of threw me off a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I definitely know people who they like the structure and feel of online games, MMOs and that kind of thing, but they don't necessarily like playing with other people, which you would say, well, that's the point of an MMO, but I know plenty of people who still prefer to solo.
Yeah.
And that is supported here. You could go through.
We want people to be able to play, whether it's running around just doing solo thumper missions, or whether it's queuing solo for PvP, those are all valid ways to play the game.
So you could just progress your character strictly going through the competitive PvP stuff if you didn't actually want to deal with the open world things. What kind of enemy variety will you eventually see in the game, and what types of enemy behaviors are there that sort of differentiate the enemies aside from just the character models and hit points?
Yeah, well, we've got, obviously we've got sort of a global level AI that's controlling overall spawning, and each of the creatures has their own sort of individual AI. So it's kind of as much as we can come up with in our heads. We've got an AI team, a creature team, and these guys are constantly throwing together new variations on the bad guys. You see him right now; he's fighting a lot of these little bug insect guys, the Iranians, and.
I'm sure you could
there's variants of those guys that you'll probably see more of. These are sort of the common types here, but you start to see more varieties and combinations of them when you start doing some of those thumper missions. It ends up developing some. Well, here's a new critter.
There you go. I mean, yeah. Do you get those rare spawns? So if you're walking around in an environment, think, oh man, that guy wasn't there before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's important to note that at the end of the day, while it has, certainly features that, like leveling and itemization and submissions and so forth that people think of when they think of MMOs, we don't really think of Firefall as an MMO. It has those features, but the world is a more dynamic place. It's not go to mission giver B, select mission C, do mission C. That's not really the game of Firefall. It's much more of a dynamic world, sandboxy. Things always going on. When he opens up that map for the Sin environment, you can see the things that are happening on the map. You can see there's a chosen incursion nearby. You could head over there and deal with it. If he'd rather do that than continue on the mission that he's on, he can absolutely do so.
And that's just more of a public type assignment that anyone could head over to.
Yeah, anyone can head over there. Everyone is able to see that on their map. These are dynamic events, again, that AI is controlling. You can see there's the drop pod that the Chosen came down with. And once again, you've got Chosen
quite a bit of
fighting
experience
against,
coming off of there, too.
Yeah, you've got the Chosen fighting against the critters. Looks like he had a little help there from some of the other players. And now he's moved on to his next mission.
Yeah, so to complete, I mean, in terms of objectives, when you do get those public quests, or the more open quests, do you necessarily have to form up in a group in order for everyone to get credit for what's going on?
Now, everybody's going to get credit if they're nearby and contributing.
Okay. So it does encourage a lot more free-form cooperation, I guess.
Yeah, nice crater, sir. Well
that was a big drop.
It's you know, crater, when you can really drop one in, we don't have an ability that's quite as fulfilling as that one. That feels great when you really drop it in for full damage on a nice little group of critters.
And in terms of travel around the world, if you did find a cool event that was pretty far away and maybe out of glider range, are there faster ways to travel, or are you pretty much just gliding and running?
Well, some of the videos that we've shown in the past have shown some of the other options that might be available. There are some vehicular options that are not currently active in the beta, but there's some vehicles that are coming down the road that we may or may not have working internally, but I can't really say.
Okay.
But maybe they are.
But that may happen later.
Yeah. And he's found some more critters.
Yeah, there is a huge dinosaur there.
Yep, that's a sand thresher. He has a bit of a charge ability that you're going to want to get out of the way of.
Okay, so yeah, there you see the more varied enemy AI behaviors where you have special attacks and things like that. And it looks like you're getting some help here from somebody else.
Yeah, and again, like, you know, this is, like I said, this is live beta. This is the real servers that people are playing on. So he's picking up a little gear and he's, you know, playing with some other people. You can see them doing their own things nearby. So even though he's, you know, doing his mission, doing his thing, you know, there's all these other people nearby. And you could jump into a group with one of them if you felt like it. But oh, it looks like he's found some more threshers.
Yeah, and I don't know if we could get a look at the sort of the character menu or the equip menu or something like that to get a sense of...
Oh, he's about to head back into town. Ow. He's about to head back into town because he just finished this series. He needs to find one more Thumper core. And there should be one right over here, maybe?
And those are the types of things that are maybe highlighted on your map as well?
Well, this zone, this area is highlighted in his map. I already found one. You just gotta search around the area to actually find these cores.
Okay.
And you know, these are sort of introductory missions, very much designed to sort of teach you the basics about moving around the world of Firefall and some of the basics. You know, showed you how to use that sonic detonator. You know, teaching you the next mission he's going to get is going to teach you how to both make and use a thumper. And that thumper is one of our core resource gathering experiences. You're gonna go around the world. You got this thing called a scan hammer that you whack the ground with. It creates sonic waves, and then you read the feedback from that waves to determine if there are resources in the area. And you can see these guys over here have summoned a thumper down. And
seems to be attracting some attention.
It does. It's a very loud, noisy beast, and it has attracted all sorts of attention. Even the Chosen have even noticed it. And that would be a failed crater.
Your face palm tree. Yeah, it looks like it's got the interface elements up on the thumper there, where just anyone can see it. It's just out in the open like that.
Yep. Well, and you know, it's nice to be able to look over and you see this guy's having a little bit of trouble. You know, you'll give him a hand if you feel like it.
Funding your account now.
Now he's not going to get any of the resources from that thumper unless he joins the group, obviously.
Okay.
So he's probably going to select that scan hammer, bring up his call down menu, select the scan hammer, and find a decent spot there, and take a swing. Are you heading over to Point Charlie? Okay.
And yeah, it looks like the jump jets. There isn't a. I mean, there is a limited amount of fuel, but it will just recharge. So it's not like you can use them for a bunch and then you have to go like buy more jump jet fuel or something like that.
No. The recharge, your jump jets refuel pretty quickly, probably about 5 seconds or so, and then you can start using them again. Yeah,
and while we wander around here, we are seeing the night-day cycle. It's obviously becoming quite a bit brighter than when we started out.
Dawn has kicked in. Actually, it's pretty. find the right area here? All right. I'm gonna try out the scan hammer here. We're gonna find out if this is a good place to thump. Looks like not.
And how do you know it's not?
Well, it's gonna pop open a. Yeah, it's gonna pop open a little thing there. Well, actually, he's starting to see some color there. That means if he finds the right spot here, he'll be told, yep, there you go. So he found a spot that's got 29% coralite and a little bit of quartzite. So he can take his thumper beacon and drop it in the world. And that's going to attract some attention, as we were discussing.
Yep.
You do not want to stand in that red circle.
Is that actually going to do damage?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there it goes.
All right, excellent. And
nice. So could
it
you
works
use
on its own. It's just going to start gathering the resources, and you just have to protect it. We've always kind of thought that it was far more interesting to gather resources with your gun than with a pickaxe. So.
And I mean, could you theoretically use that as a weapon, like calling a thumper down?
It would be a very expensive weapon, probably. The thumpers cost quite a few resources to make, and so if you're using it as sort of a primary weapon, also it takes like 10-15 seconds to show up.
If it's a really slow enemy.
If it's a really slow enemy, I think you could absolutely do that. Although if it's really slow, you should just move your gun.
It's probably true. Yeah. Or step on its head
crater.
like that.
Okay, that makes up for the really bad crater before.
The palm tree crater?
Exactly. It will forever be known as the palm tree crater.
Yep. So I guess as this proceeds towards finish, then what happens once the thumper has completed its work?
Well, you can run up to it and send it back, interact with it to send it back, or you can just let it complete and it will send itself back after a while. You do have to, like I said, keep it alive and keep it healthy while it's gathering. And this is just the tiniest thumper, right? This is a personal thumper designed for one, maybe two players. And so it doesn't have a very large capacity. It's not going to be able to bring you tons of resources. But that's, again, where that tech tree comes in, right? You're going to head back into town, take some of the coralite that you've been collecting here, refine that into crystite, which is sort of the money of the Firefall world, and you can use that to upgrade your tech tree. And in this case, you could go research light thumpers, and light thumpers are good for 3 to 5 players, and they carry about 7 times more resources than this tiny thumper does. And so in that way, you're continuously improving your tech, and also getting tougher and tougher challenges.
In terms of like when you do earn new items and things like that, how easy is that to trade with other players? Is there a central kind of trading house that people could go to?
There isn't right now in the beta, but we do have, that is absolutely something that's going to be coming online fairly soon. It's a pretty big priority for us. We've got a fairly elaborate crafting system that we've got, and even more of that planned. And that doesn't really become exciting and interesting for people unless there's a real economy for them to trade and develop for.
And with the items themselves, and sorry, you can keep going.
Please. I was just saying that that's obviously something that one of the advantages we have as a free-play game is that we can constantly just add new content, add new features, and just continuously improve the game. We see Firefall as a service more than a game. A game is something that just comes out once and is done forever. Firefall is something we've got years of development plans for already. Different areas that are going to open up and become available to the players, and as well as game features and tech tree items and zones and missions and so on and so on. We see Firefall as a service that we are providing for the fans and for the players, much more so than one-shot game.
Right, so you could have that word of mouth still way after release, and I guess that just makes it so much easier for people to come in and just experience the game. If somebody tells them, hey, this game is cool, then it's really not that big a deal for the person to try it out.
So just give it a try.
Right.
Yeah, that's the real advantage of the model is people, there's no good reason not to give it a try. And if your game is good, and we think Firefall's an awful lot of fun, if your game is good, people are going to play it. As a free-play game, obviously we're going to have the game's more people can be able to buy tech items and convenience items. But you know, we're not going to be selling power. We're not going to be selling the biggest, bestest gun, anything like that. You know, it's a real advantage of the model. It's really better for everyone except for big publishers.
Yeah, because I mean, we have seen in recent years so many games have either transitioned from subscription models to free-to-play models, or just started free-to-play. They're like, no, we're not even going to bother with the initial upfront buying price. Absolutely. Or if there is an upfront price, more games are starting way low.
Yep.
So that there isn't the big kick you in the teeth kind of asking price at the beginning.
And you're asking people to spend all that money before they played the game, and you know, like I said, this model is just better for everybody. It's good for the players. It's good for us as a team, because we get to, like I said, keep developing it and treating it as a service, and always adding more features, more content, more everything.
Right, and in terms of the content that you do pay for, the stuff that Red 5 would actually profit from.
Right.
As you were saying, those are just convenience items and things like that. Can you specify what a convenience item would be?
A convenience item, is, you know, we think of it as buying time, right? Whether it's something like an XP boost, or maybe it's a free teleport back to town, those sorts of items. You know, something that if you've got, you know, if you're a high school or college student, you've got a lot of extra time on your hands, you can just play the game for free, and that's great. We love those guys because they represent content, right? You know, people to play with and people to shoot in PvPs, and that's fantastic. But you know, if you're if you're a guy like me, you've been, you don't have a lot of time. You know, when you get home, you've only got maybe a couple hours. You can essentially pay for a little extra time for your time to be a little bit quicker, as it were. So
you're basically accelerating your experience,
exactly.
But you're not making yourself. You're not buying the gun that one-shots everyone else that you were into.
No, that's a great way to put it. You're accelerating the experience. That's a great way to put it. No, that's exactly right. Yeah, we don't believe in selling power. We, but selling time is a sort of a good middle ground.